What's up everybody, this is BR, and recently I watched a video that was called Why Aim Down Sights is a Bad Mechanic. Personally, I do think that this is a well-made video that brings up a lot of important topics that has to do with aim down sights as a mechanic. And as a mechanic, it's pretty much become ubiquitous with the first-person shooter genre, almost as much as moving with WASD and looking around with mouse. However, understandably, the video has brought in a lot of controversy because many people don't believe that it is a bad mechanic. And while a lot of those people can be put down as people who just didn't watch the video and just read the title and just started typing, which I think are the lowest of IQ kind of people, others decided to throw their hat in the ring and discuss the topic as a serious discussion. And many did bring up a good point. However, one that really bothered me was talking about how aim down sights adds to the realism of a game. That isn't necessarily wrong, but the part that bothers me is the implication that somehow realism adds to a game's quality. Somehow a game being realistic adds to how good the game is going to be. And that's where I just downright disagree. Because unlike something like pacing, storytelling, movement, or balancing, aim down sights doesn't actually make a game better just by having it exist. Aim down sights is just a mechanic, it just makes the gameplay a little different than if it didn't have it. Its purpose is usually just to slow down gameplay and provide a more consistent way to aim and hit your targets. But it isn't going to make a game that's 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. But that's only a small matter of the issue. Overall, realism doesn't actually make a game better. It can add to the tone, it can add to the storytelling, it can add to the atmosphere, but overall, it is not necessary. Realism can be achieved without realistic mechanics, and that's achievable because of our suspension of disbelief. By default, you always have to have some suspension of disbelief. The way that we interact with our games using controllers and keyboards and mouses and all those other kinds of crap is a dead giveaway that our game is not realistic at all. I don't care how many mechanics like aim down sights, pain, fractures, or anything like thereof is added to a game. All of it is nowhere near close to being considered realistic. And more than likely, anybody who claims that they want more realism out of their games actually doesn't want that. If things were a lot more realistic, like in an actual simulator, and I'm not talking about sim games, I'm talking about actual simulators, I'm talking high performance computing kind of simulators, they wouldn't fucking touch that with a 10-foot pole. No matter how realistic a game is going to be, the designers are always going to prioritize fun and enjoyment out of those mechanics than realism. Because eventually, you're going to get to a point where the realism really starts taking a toll on the gameplay, to the point where it's no longer fun. Then it's no longer attention to detail or realism, it's a broken mechanic. And I really want you to take that into consideration when it comes to any realistic games that you might see out in the market. Really pay close attention to games like Insurgency or Arma, arguably some of the most realistic games in recent memory. And when you pay attention to the game really closely, you'll realize that these games are nowhere near close to realism whatsoever. And that is a good thing. Because guess what? The game is fun. It doesn't have to be the most realistic thing ever. So please, make sure never to use realism as an argument on why a game is a lot better than another one. More than likely, the realism is what really sucks in the game. Because if you're not hitting the release, unloading a magazine, reloading that magazine, and chambering around, all by manually pressing individual buttons, then it is not a realistic game. But please, tell me what you think. Do you think realistic games are more fun or less fun? Do you prefer them to be more arcadey? Do you prefer them to be a lot more consistent with their realistic style? Make sure to leave your opinion down in the comment section below. If you found this video interesting, like it if you like it, dislike it if you disliked it. If you'd like to see more content just like this, make sure to subscribe. And if you'd like to support me, I do have a Patreon in the description. And thank you so much to my following patrons, and I'll catch you later.